All right, let's bring in Coach O'Reilly. Brian O'Reilly, of course, longtime head coach of the Pinkerton Astros boys lacrosse program. He also coaches a pretty good football team in the fall as well. Coach, welcome back. How you doing?
Very well, thank you, Nick. Appreciate to be here.
Well, we were talking off air a moment ago. It seems like business as usual with you guys. 5-1 so far to start the year. The one loss is behind you, I suppose, at this point, right, Coach, as you look forward to really a tough week coming up.
Yeah, we do have a tough week. That was a Bedford really good team that we lost to, but we've got arch rival Londonderry tomorrow, then BG comes to town on Monday, and we follow that up with Exeter and then Longmeadow, Mass. So things will settle down at the end of next week. We'll find out where we are.
I mean, this seems like the most grueling portion of the schedule. Is that fair to say?
It is. You could take the schedule the way it's given to you. Nobody does it on purpose, but we had kind of a soft situation going for a while, and now all of a sudden it's like, do we have to, like Londonderry and BG back to back? I don't even get an extra practice day, well, all at once, but in the end it evens out. That's fine.
Brian O'Reilly, our guest, the Pinkerton Astros head coach. You guys get Londonderry first. Talk a little bit about them because you've already seen them, right?
Right. We did pretty well against them for about 3 quarters, and then at the end they caught some fire. Some things that we did, some things they did. Wound up winning comfortably, but close enough that I expect a full game tomorrow, and I know nothing would please them more than to get at us. They've got a good team. They new coach this year. He seems to he's from Keene State. Seems to understand the game pretty well. I really thought that they played very well. They did some things pretty nicely. So I see Londonderry in the Final Four, Final Five, somewhere along the way, probably between them and Souhegan. Certainly they're a good team.
Again, our guest, Brian O'Reilly. Pinkerton 6-1 out of the gate to begin the year, hosting Londonderry Saturday, and then at Londonderry on Saturday, then hosting Bishop Girton on Monday. Any concern, Coach, that your team might be overlooking Londonderry as they set their sights on BG? Is that a legit concern, or is that something maybe overblown in the media?
Well, it's a concern enough that we've dealt with it for the last 2 days, and I don't think that's the case. I think the opposite, in that we are taking Londonderry so seriously. We put some film work in this morning with the team, that everything is geared at Londonderry, so when the game is over tomorrow afternoon, we have Sunday off. We're not coming back on Sunday. We have to go against BG with not a single day of practice. So that's how seriously we've been taking Londonderry. We haven't even talked about BG.
Yeah, that's good to know. I mean, what? I suppose there's only so much you can do, right, as a coach in terms of motivation. I mean, I would assume most of that has got to be on the players in the locker room, particularly the upperclassmen, to get everybody amped up.
Yeah. Lacrosse is a little bit different for me than football as far as the emotion factor. It's more of a play the game kind of thing and try to limit the mistakes. The other thing that's different in the sport of lacrosse is all the top players play with each other in the summertime, usually on the New Hampshire Tomahawk. So you get a lot of they can tell you things about kids that maybe you don't necessarily know. That doesn't happen in football, like, hey, coach, he does this, or this one likes to do this, or, oh, he's a pretty good kid. And there's a good and a bad to that, but it's different. I'll tell you that. It's different.
Yeah, I could imagine. Again, we're speaking with Brian O'Reilly, the longtime Pinkerton Astros head coach. Quite a week for the Astros. Londonderry, BG, Exeter, and then Longmeadow, a powerhouse down in Massachusetts. The team you have this year, how good are they compared to the last year's team or years, I guess, in the past? When you look at this group, is it too early to tell, not even halfway through the schedule, how good this group can be?
They can be good, but we're very young. This is we lost a lot from last year, and we're playing an awful lot of younger kids, which is one of the things that's a little frustrating right now on one hand, but on the other hand, we've got nothing but upside. We really only play 5 seniors throughout all the positions, and this is not, at this point in the season, not one of the, this is not one of the top teams we've always had, but this can be a very good team. Depends on how those 14 and 15-year-old kids come along.
I mean, that's got to be a little different for you, right, Coach, personally? having to, I guess, mix in so many young guys early on.
It is. I mean, lacrosse different because of the skill set. There are always freshmen, sophomores here or there among a lot of teams, but we're relying on so many of them this year, it's almost overwhelming. It's nothing that we would ever do, say, in football because of the physical contact aspect.
Right.
So, we're really a junior, senior type team there. But this can be frustrating, not from the skill set, but from the understanding set, the knowing the small nuances, and in some cases when you get into a big game, maybe even being a little bit intimidated early on in the season. But they all grow up in the end, one way or the other. You only have them for 4 years, so use them while you got them.
Again, you're listening to FNL Lacrosse here on ESPN New Hampshire. We're online at espnnhradio.com. Our guest, longtime head coach of the Pinkerton boys lacrosse team, Brian O'Reilly. The fact that you have so many young players in vital roles, Coach, means I would assume that somebody surprised you in a pleasant way this, or at least through the first 7 games of the season. Is that true? Has there been kind of a guy that you didn't expect to contribute the way that he has?
Boy, I hate to answer the question by saying that we pretty much have what we expected we were going to have.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are playing because the slots were there, not because they overcame something.
Mm-hmm.
But across the board, I think all of our freshmen and sophomores have done a nice job. Of all the freshmen, I think Chris Valentine, our attack, he's rotates in as our fourth attackman, probably has done the most solid job. And we're also pretty impressed with some of the Hooksett kids that we've gotten. Because I didn't get to see those kids in youth lacrosse, I wasn't necessarily sure what I had there, but still, it's a senior, junior-driven thing in sports, and those are the kids that we're actually relying on. The other ones are just doing a nice job filling in.
Again, Brian O'Reilly is our guest talking Pinkerton lacrosse. The Astros 6-1, facing Londonderry on Saturday. Getting back to something you said a few moments ago, in that it can be tough on the football field to play underclassmen because of the physical nature of the game. It seems like the lacrosse game has kind of gotten away from some of the more physicality, some of the more physical plays we saw maybe 10, 15 years ago, where now it's more of a finesse game. Is that fair to say? And if so, could you have gotten away with playing younger kids on the lacrosse field 10 or 15 years ago?
You're absolutely correct. Actually, I can go back 30, 35 years ago when
Right.
It was really physical. And no, you probably couldn't, except that these kids are so well skilled now. They're so much better skilled than they were 20 and 30 years ago. One of the reasons why the game isn't as physical is you have people who can move in the open field, and it's really hard to hit a kid wide open in the field. But in the 70s and the 80s, kids didn't really play the sport until they got to high school, and so they were lugging a stick around. They didn't really know what to do with it, and if they dropped the ball, then it was just two guys going at it on the field. It is so much better a game today than it used to be, but the physicality is a fraction of what it used to be, and that's a good thing. But no, we never had that many freshmen back in the old days for that reason.
I'm a little surprised at your answer, Coach. I thought you were going to tell me that you wanted to go back to the old days and beef it up a little bit, seeing that you're a football guy, but I guess not, right?
No, but I tell you, there are times in the game along the sidelines or something where I'll see a kid from our team maybe come across the field to put somebody out of bounds, and they'll miss them. That I just kind of like roll my eyes, like that's not what's supposed to happen. When I do get, and I don't have as many as I used to, but when I do have a combo, football, and the hockey kids are the same way, lacrosse players. And they get you in a corner where you've got nowhere to go. There's still a physicality to it, but nothing like football. That's why you don't wear that kind of equipment.
Right. Now, Coach, as a coach over the last 3 decades, you've seen, obviously, the changes in lacrosse. Have you had to adjust your coaching style to the game changes?
To be honest with you, not that much. We pretty much do what we've done for at least the last 20, 25 years. Same defensive, offensive scheme. You can't reinvent the game, but we certainly do more things scheme-wise than we used to do in the old days. As far as where slides come from. We'll have multiple defensive calls now. But the game is still the game. It's a beautiful game. It really is. I enjoy it tremendously, and that part of it hasn't changed.
All right, Coach, I'm going to let you off the hook here in a couple minutes, but first, I want you to give me a couple of tidbits on Londonderry. You said you were prepping hard for them. The game, again, is Saturday. You've already faced them once. What about the Lancers has you concerned going into Game 2?
Well, without giving away any game planning, which I know you'd like, but I can't.
I know.
It's Pinkerton Londonderry, and when those two teams get together, we get their A game. We've had the better of it in a number of sports for a while now. It used to be, if you go back when the school first opened up, it was pretty even. But because of that, they come at us harder maybe than I would like to see our kids sometimes do. So we're back to that physicality thing tomorrow.
Right.
You got to keep your head up when you play. The nature of the game, not for anything else other than that. They're not going to roll over and just let us have our way with them. So the feeling out game took place last week. Now they know what adjustments they can make. We won, so we'll make less adjustments. So now it's just a matter of seeing what their second situation is and reacting to that.
Do you expect more or less the same thing when you face BG on Monday?
Yeah, a little bit different situation maybe. The tide has turned on that with us, and that now we're the ones that are always trying to get at them. That situation used to be the other way, but it isn't anymore. So we'll see. But honestly, just the fact that we have not had a practice day for BG tells you that for us, it's just a regular season game because we expect to be there in the end. We know they'll be there in the end, as well as a couple of other teams, and that's when you really bring out what you've got. So we don't show too much during the regular season, and we'll just play it the way it goes and see what happens.
Coach, as usual, fascinating conversation. Appreciate the time. Good luck over the weekend. Good luck the next 4 or 5 games, it looks like, as your team runs the gauntlet, so to speak, in the middle of the season. Appreciate the time, Coach.
Thank you, Nick. Take care.